Ghost of Tsushima, the story of a samurai, a Mongol invasion, and a healthy obsession with foxes. Hi gamers, my name is Barry from Gamers Regret, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my favorite video games of all time that's equal parts breathtaking and soul-crushing, and will forever be the best samurai game until they release Ghost of Yotei. Because Assassin's Creed Shadows ain't looking so hot right now. Okay, let's start with Act 1, where Jin Sakai's life goes from honor is everything to stabby everyone, ask questions later. Act 1 begins with the samurai pulling up to Castle Canada like it's a group project they haven't prepared for. Spoiler, the Mongols have studied and thoroughly. We are introduced to Koto Khan, the main villain of the game. He shows up, gives the whole speech, Join or die speech, you know, and the samurai, they're like, nah mate, we're good. Cut to everyone being very much not so good. Poor Jin tries to be the hero and takes on the Khan solo, and let me tell you, it's not even close. Dude gets bodied so hard, I'm surprised his ancestors didn't feel it. So, Jin wakes up half dead and meets Yuna, a thief with more survival skills than the samurai army combined. She's just like, you're alive? Congrats! Now let me teach you how not to die. So some backstory to Yuna. She has been fighting and thieving her entire life. Her main goal, get her brother Taka back, who's been captured by the Mongols. Also, she's trying to save anyone who isn't as caught up in the whole dying for honor thing. She's practical, which is what Jin desperately needs throughout his journey. Now, this is where things get interesting. Jin's been raised with this strict sense of honor, but Yuna's all about getting stuff done. She teaches him stealth, or as I call it, the art of hiding in bushes and stabbing people in the butt. Is it honorable? Absolutely not. Is it effective? Oh fuck yeah it is. While Jin's learning the ways of becoming the ghost, Yuna's also got a personal agenda. She has one thing in mind, that's to get her brother back. So you team up with her, you meet this guy called Genji. He's basically like a drunk scammy person. He's just like undercutting everyone. And then you basically go there, get Tucker out, go back out. He builds you a grapple hook. You become Batman and everything's fun. So before we get in too deep into Jin's transformation, let's talk about the most important choice of this game. Choosing our steed. So I chose Kage because frankly, what's better than a horse that's just as determined as Jin? He's like the loyal dog of the samurai world. Now, let's be real. While Jin's out here becoming a ghost, there's a lot more going on in Tsushima that's not exactly mission critical. See, while Jin is supposed to be gathering an army to save his uncle, he spends a lot of time chasing foxes, writing haikus, and my personal favorite, following golden birds who seem to think they're on a scavenging hunt. Priority is Jin. You're supposed to be saving Tsushima. So eventually, Jin remembers, all right, I have to save my uncle. And with that, he kicks into recruitment mode, starting with Sensei Ishikawa. This guy is basically the grumpy old man stereotype. Only instead of sitting on a porch yelling at kids, he's shooting arrows through Mongol skulls with a level of precision that makes you wonder if he's secretly auditioning for a spot on the Hunger Games. Ishikawa's got trust issues. He's been betrayed by a student, and now he's grumpier than a cat stuck in a rainstorm. At first, he's like, I don't want to help you, Jin. I'm retired. But after a few rounds of convincing, and maybe a little bit of sucky or two, Jin managed to drag him out of his crumpy retirement and back into action. Next up on our list, we have Lady Masako. She's not here for a spa day though. She's on a revenge tour so intense, even the Mongols are like, ma'am, please calm down. It's just a town, not a personal vendetta zone. Masako family was murdered during the events of the battle, and she's out for blood. But of course, Masako doesn't take kindly to Jin's let's be honorable routine. She's like, let's destroy anyone that wronged her, and watch her go full force into battle is like watching a vengeance-fueled tornado. And then we have Rizzo, Jin's old buddy. The guy who could have been a successful warrior if he only wasn't so busy being unemployed and being bitter about it. Rizzo's hanging out with a gang of misfits called the Straw Hats, and let's just say they aren't exactly the most loyal of crew. Together, Jin, Yuna, Ishikawa, Masako, and Rizzo form this, well, let's just call it an incredibly dysfunctional team. But hey, it works. At least most of the time when they do work together, it's chaos, but it's the kind of chaos that makes the Mongols regret ever stepping foot in Tsushima. The Act 1 finale is where things get wild. Jin and his squad storm Castle Canada to save his uncle, and it's all fire, explosions, and slow motion standoff. Now, this game takes a lot of influence from Akira Kurosawa, who is responsible for some of the best films ever made, and Star Wars. But we don't have time for that because this battle is like something out of Ran, but you're playing in the center of it. And it's amazing! And just when you think Jin's got everything under control, Rizzo and the Straw Hats show up. Turns out being friends with Jin doesn't pay the bills. So Rizzo decides to stab him in the back, but hey, Jin still managed to rescue his uncle. So that's a win, right? After all that, you think Lord Shimura would be proud of Jin. But nope, his uncle's like, this whole ghost thing, it's not cool, not honorable. And Jin's just standing there just being like, I literally just saved your life. And that's basically Act 1. Jin Sakai is no longer the samurai, he is becoming the ghost. Tsushima is still crawling with Mongols, Rizzo's being a total drama queen, and Uncle Shimura is preparing for some good old family guild trips. Next up, Act 2, where things get even crazier. So after freeing Lord Shimura, Jin's uncle spends all about 0.5 seconds saying thank you before launching into a lecture about honor. Classic parent behavior, right? You risk your life for them and they're like, yeah, but why didn't you use the proper stance while doing it? Shimura's big plan in Act 2 is to request help from the Shogun because apparently the samurai hotline's been disconnected for years. Meanwhile, Jin's trying to figure out how to liberate Tsushima while being honorable enough to not get disowned. And of course, while all that's happening, Jin is completely ignoring the main missions, again, to go chasing after golden birds, foxes, and helping random villagers. Because what's more important, saving Tsushima or writing a haiku about a tree? The side quests in Act 2 are absolute gold. You've got Sensei Ishikawa trying to track down his rogue student Tomoe, who's basically out Mongolian the Mongols at this point. Then there's Lady Masako, who's hunting down her family's murderers, one dramatic speech at a time. By the end of her arc, even Jin's is like, maybe consider therapy. We also get introduced to Norio, a warrior monk who's both a gentle soul and a guy who will set an entire Mongol camp on fire without blinking. Honestly, very demure. But let's not forget that Act 2 is also where we experience some of the real emotional gut punches of the story. I'm talking about Taka, Yuna's brother, and the catalyst that drives a lot of Jin's actions going forwards and a lot of the characters in the game. Now, during Act 2, he wants to help Jin more and gets involved in some of the missions until he goes too far and gets caught with us by the Mongolians. This is when we come face to face with the Khan again, and instead of killing us, he chops off Taka's head with our own sword. Rip Taka. Taka's death is one of the hardest points in the game. Taka's death isn't just about losing a character, it also takes a heavy toll on Yuna, whose whole purpose her entire life was doing all she could to protect Taka. His death also adds fuel to Jin's fire, pushing him further into the role of the ghost, where he's willing to do whatever it takes to avenge those he's lost. Talking about do whatever it takes, this is the part of Jin's story that becomes fully against honor. The climax of Act 2 is an all-out assault on Castle Shimura. This mission has everything: sneaky infiltration, massive battles, and Jin casually poisoning the Mongols like a normal Tuesday. By the time you storm the gates, the place looks like the aftermath of a Kurosawa film, lots of blood, swords, and very little regard for personal safety. Then comes the big showdown, Jin versus Rizzo, round 2. And let me tell you, this one hurts. Rizzo's out here calling Jin a traitor, while Jin's just trying not to cry. Dude, we used to be best friends. What happened? Spoiler, Jin wins, Rizzo dies, and everyone cries. But just when it seems things might have finally calmed down, Jin experienced a gut punch of a different kind, and we all feel it when we're playing this game. After poisoning the Mongols to do what is right and save Tsushima, your uncle is like, you have brought dishonor to this family. You are no longer my son. So we get imprisoned by his men, then we escape because we're the ghost and we can walk through walls. We're riding away from the chaos, trying to process everything. Kage, our trusty steed, our most loyal of companions, falls in the most brutal way imaginable. Arrows rain down, in a heartbeat, Kage is gone. You're left there with Jin, kneeling by his fallen horse, absolutely shattered. It's like someone just punched you in the heart with an emotional katana. Jin buries Kage with a few solemn words, but the loss is felt deeply. It's a moment that shifts Jin's entire journey. No longer just a samurai following the code, he's fully embracing the ghost. No honor, no rules, just vengeance. It's heartbreaking, but it's also the emotional turning point that sets the stage for what's coming in Act 3. But before we dive into Act 2, let's take a scenic detour to Iki Island, a place where Mongols, hallucinations, and samurai daddy issues all collide in spectacular fashion. If Tsushima is Jin's battlefield, Iki is his therapy session, and it's a rough one. Now, I thought Iki Island would be good to do after finding out about Jin's backstory during Act 2, but I was so wrong. If you ever are planning on playing this game, please finish the main story and get all the upgrades, then head over to Iki Island. You'll thank me later. Now, Iki Island is not your typical relaxing getaway. Jin shows up, and within 5 minutes, he's already fighting Mongols and getting poisoned by the eagle, a creepy cult leader who looks like she moonlights as a goth fortune teller. Her whole vibe is chaotic therapist who makes you cry on purpose. The poison doesn't just make Jin feel bad, it makes him hallucinate a lot. Suddenly, he's hearing his dad's voice in his head, and it's not saying, "I'm proud of you, son." It's more like, "Why are you like this?" So now Jin has two missions: take down the eagle tribe and wrestle with his own unresolved trauma. And let me tell you, the eagle does not make it easy. She's out here turning entire villages into brainwashed Mongol fan clubs. It's like a cult, but with more war crimes. On Iki, Jin meets a new ally, Tenzo. This guy's a pirate and he wastes no time roasting Jin for being a samurai. Their dynamic is basically grumpy pirate meets repressed swordsman, and it's honestly great. But the real star of Iki Island is the God of Warmer that I obtained. That's right, Jin can unlock a Ghost of Tsushima style homage to Kratos himself. It's called the Spartan armor, and it looks so good that you want to start throwing out at the Mongols just for the aesthetic. You do also get other armor skins from other games like Shadow of the Colossus, Bloodborne, and Horizon Zero Dawn. To get the armor, you have to solve a shrine puzzle dedicated to Kratos. Suddenly, Iki Island feels like the crossover we didn't know I needed. As Jin and Tenzo fight their way through Iki, they uncover more about the Eagle's plans and Jin's past. Turns out his dad led a brutal samurai campaign on the island years ago, and the locals haven't exactly forgotten the Sakai family, and that Tenzo was also the one that killed his dad. I fucking called that. Like, legitimately, I called that. But that doesn't stop Jin from taking on the Eagle in a final showdown. This battle is intense, with hallucinatory twists and epic music. By the end, Jin takes her down and liberates Iki, proving once and again therapy through sword fights is surprisingly effective. Jin learns to make peace with his past, or at least enough peace to stop screaming at the sky every 5 minutes. Growth, people. That's what we love to see. Iki Island is an amazing DLC, and not too many video games create such an extra quality. It's an emotional roller coaster wrapped in stunning landscapes and Mongol carnage. Between the poison-induced nightmares, pirate banter, and God of War Easter eggs, it's easily one of the best parts of Ghost of Tsushima. 10 out of 10 would hallucinate again. Okay, so now let's head back to the main island and finish this fight, where Jin says, "Screw honor, I'm taking down the Khan my way. It's cold, it's brutal, and it's packed with so much baggage you'll be left weeping for the next 10 to 12 weeks. Act 3 takes place in the frozen north of Tsushima, a Mongol stronghold that looks like a post-apocalyptic snow globe. Every camp is fortified, every road is guarded, and every Mongol is just waiting for Jin to show up and ruin their day. At this point in the game, Jin has fully embraced his new identity as the Ghost. He's terrorizing Mongols, leaving trails of fear and smoke bombs wherever he goes. It's like Batman, but with more stabbing. And while the world may be falling apart around him, Jin isn't doing this alone. He's got his crew, Yuna, Masako, Ishigawa, Norio, and Kenji. Completing the side missions for each of them in Act 3 feels like the wrapping up a season finale for all the Tsushima's emotional arcs. It's where you see how far these characters have come and how far Jin has come. First off, we've got Lady Masako, the revenge-driven warrior who's out here solving family mysteries like it's a Netflix crime drama. By Act 3, her storyline has reached a boiling point. It's both satisfying and heartbreaking to see her finally take down the person responsible for her family's slaughter. Then there's Sensei Ishigawa, the grumpy old man who loves archery more than anything, except maybe revenge. In Act 3, his side missions push him to confront his past mistakes and make peace with his legacy. Sure, it's mostly about hunting down his former student who became a traitor and is now not a traitor and leaves the mainland, but you can't help feel a little bad for the guy. He's like the Japanese version of a Western grizzled mentor coming to terms with his mortality. And then we got Norio, the monk turned warrior. This guy had one of the most heartbreaking transformations in the entire game. From the peaceful monk who just wanted to help people, Norio has been thrust into war, and by Act 3, he's fully embracing his role in the fight against the Mongols and burns them all down. Like, even the ghost wouldn't go that far. It was very scary. Now, no journey is complete without a random overpowered side boss that leaves you questioning your life's choices. Enter the hardest swordsman in the game that is part of the Legends story mission things, and it was a pain in my butt. He's the guy that made me second guess my entire existence while playing this game. Fuck this guy, and I'm glad he's dead. Alright, we've been building up to this moment for the entire game. Jin versus the Khan. The final battle is a visual masterpiece, and I'm not just talking about the epic explosions or the way Jin moves like an absolute samurai beast. No, I'm talking talking about the full-on chaos that's about to unfold. And most of the time, I'm just relying on the ghost tools and running away, trying not to die. That did happen a lot, especially in that final battle. So Jin storms the Khan stronghold like he's got a vendetta against every single Mongol soldier in this place. And trust me, the entire Mongol army is about to get wrecked. He's flipping over obstacles, dodging arrows, and literally running across rooftops like he's playing Assassin's Creed in his spare time. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is it, right? Jin is about to throw down an epic final showdown with the Khan, and you're absolutely right. But it's not just any fight. No, this battle is a whirlwind of fire, smoke, and steel. Jin's dodging flaming arrows like Neo in the Matrix, and every swing of his katana feels like it's cutting through the Mongol army's hopes and dreams. And spoiler alert, Jin wins. He's not losing to some guy who thought he could burn his way through Tsushima without a fight. This is Jin's moment to show the Mongols who's boss. The Khan's dead, the Mongols are defeated, and Tsushima is saved. But hold up, just when you think the game is going to give you a happily ever after, boom, Sucker Punch comes in with an emotional sledgehammer. The Shogun has just declared Jin an outlaw, and guess who's tasked with bringing him down? Your uncle, Lord Shimura. The man who raised him, the guy who taught him the way of the samurai. This leads to one of the most gut-wrenching, tear-jerking duels in gaming history. It's uncle versus nephew, honor versus freedom, and the moment where you realize Jin's entire journey has come down to this betrayal. The fight itself is intense. The combat is beautiful, tragic, and devastating all at once. And here's the kicker, you, the player, get to decide how it all ends. Do you give Shimura an honorable death, or do you show mercy? Either way, the weight of the decision is crushing, and you can practically hear your heart breaking with every strike. Congrats, Sucker Punch, you've officially wrecked my soul. Whether you spare Shimura or give him the death he believes he deserves, the emotional fallout is unavoidable. Jin's journey has come full circle. He's no longer just a samurai, he's something else entirely. Something that, at the cost of honor, ultimately saves Tsushima, and he has become a legend in his own right. And that's Ghost of Tsushima, a masterfully crafted tale of honor, sacrifice, and the emotional roller coaster that is Jin Sakai's transformation from a samurai to a ghost. It's a journey that not only redefines what it means to fight for your homeland, but also explores the complexities of identity, loyalty, and the heavy cost of war. If you're looking for a game that will immerse you in its world, make you laugh, cry, and question your own beliefs about honor, this is it. It's truly one of the best games I've ever played, and one of the best games ever made. Now, this isn't the first time I have played Ghost of Tsushima, and it certainly won't be the last. It's one of those rare games that sticks with you long after you finished it. You might find yourself sitting there just staring at the credits, tears streaming down your face, and it's not just because of the heart-wrenching moments, though those hit hard, it's because the entire experience feels so deeply meaningful. Every fight, every choice, every relationship Jin forms along the way feels authentic, and it also builds up to the conclusion that resonates on a personal level. The game does a fantastic job of blending raw emotion with stunning visuals and gameplay mechanics that never get old. The beauty of Ghost of Tsushima is found in every corner of the world. This is a game that rewards you for taking your time and savoring its rich, vibrant world. The soundtrack, oh man, the soundtrack. It's a perfect companion to the story. If I had to pick one thing I would like to see more of, would have been a deeper exploration of the honor system. Imagine your choices in the game impacted not just the gameplay, but the ending itself. What if playing as an honorable samurai led to a completely different conclusion than choosing the path of the ghost? That's just me being nitpicky. Despite that, there's still no denying that Ghost of Tsushima is a masterpiece. Honestly, I rate this game a perfect 100 out of 10. It's rare for a game to make me feel so connected to its world, its characters, and its themes. So looking ahead, I can't help but think about the upcoming Ghost of Yotei. The pressure on Sucker Punch to deliver a worthy sequel is huge. A lot is riding on it, but there's one thing I know for sure that Sucker Punch has proven, that they know how to work their magic. They've set the bar so high with Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm beyond excited to see what they do next. I'm confident they'll take the lessons they've learned from this game and push their boundaries even further, bringing us something even more incredible. And hopefully we get a pet wolf. They had one in the trailer, and I want it to be our buddy. So thanks for watching. Now, this is the first time I've ever done one of these types of videos, so let me know what you think. Now, all the footage of Ghost of Tsushima will be released as a Let's Play on the channel. We have about 79 episodes of that, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay notified for that. And remember to always follow the foxes. And I'll see you all on our next gaming adventure.